everything is fine and everything is good for you guys and gals. Nobody tells you today, remember that God loves you, Christ loves you, and I love you as well. As I'm praying for you guys. I hope you guys are praying for me. Make sure you subscribe to this channel, the Taking On Podcast, where I talk about professional wrestling topics. And I'll put up my matches as Classic Alpha, a professional wrestler of 13 years. Next week, I got to do a super benefit show in Robbins, Illinois. So make sure you guys go to the show. It's $10. I believe for everybody, and kids get in free. We're doing donations. We're helping a lot of people. It's going to be great. It's going to be great. But make sure you be there. Also subscribe to C3 Ultimate Wrestling. That is me and my wife's professional wrestling company. We basically going to be in year 7 next year. We just wrapped up year 6, so make sure you look at all the matches we've had from the previous years, and then even get ready for February 21st. 2026 was big business in Dyer, Indiana, Harold's private venue. Make sure you get your tickets for that. They're $5 off on Eventbrite, but there'll be $5 more at the door. Raphael, God bless you. God bless you. Lafayette in the building. What's going on, Robert Brown? Good seeing y'all. Good from reading y'all. So, obviously, the biggest thing today that people are going to talk about, besides the love of God and Christ, is John Cena's final match today. He faces Gunther. I've been debating about, am I going to resub to Peacock to watch it? And I'm probably going to watch it. I think the selling point on it is not just Cena's match per se. It's more for Obafemi versus Cody Rhodes. I like what Oba said. Oba looked comfortable on the microphone and stuff like that. And like I said, I still have respect for John Cena's contributions to professional wrestling and even what Gunther has been doing. So I'm good, brother. I'm good. I hope everything is well with you. I did want to speak about a few things though. Like you guys know, a couple days ago, I spazzed out on John Cena. David Otunga, who wrestled for WWE for a while, he made a video around the time, some things is very calculated, you want to get the views and stuff like that. So, he's been dropping a few videos and segments and stuff about his frustrations with Cena, how Cena has treated him. Certain people are bringing up old stuff, watching old videos and stuff like that. And I'm here to say could all be true. It could all be true. I'm not going to sit here and say I was there or whatever like that. And I believe a lot of the stories that are said, some of them I do feel like Cena's actions was valid about certain things. And then some of it is just like, yeah, that was a piece of crap move. That was pretty crappy. Straight, no problem, brother. Straight to the point. I say this like this, right? As a person who has not really enjoyed Cena's retirement run because of how many times they pivot, shout out to Arshawn because he's showing me clips of like John Cena trying to speak about the stuff, and we've talked about it too. It's horrible how he's answering these questions. It's horrible about how he handles certain things, and it's also horrible because sometimes people do politics to get what they want. Sometimes it's for the best of the story, sometimes it is not. I mean, John Cena on record has said that he's apologized for how the Nexus storyline could have happened because the Nexus should have been the next up. Wade Barrett should have been a world champion off of this storyline. Stuff would have happened. Y'all did all of this stuff for the Nexus to just bury them the way that you did, right? The only person that really, there's only a few people that came out from that, I don't want to say unscathed, but different. It was like Bray Wyatt and stuff like that. Wade and all of that. But still, like he's said, like he's made mistakes many a times before. And even that's a good thing to say. What's going on, Hook and Pot? Hope everything's well. Otunga was done. He was done dirty, but also what Otunga is saying, like with certain things, he's like complaining, but trying not to complain. And it's like grifting, and I don't like that because like he spoke about how he sent Bray Wyatt back to FCW and he sent David to FCW. But it's like honestly, it was a blessing in disguise for Husky Harris, who became Bray Wyatt, who everybody likes or says that he's a compelling character. Sometimes you have to go back to developmental. Sometimes you have to go back and perfect your craft. Sometimes you have to do different things. People was talking about the Wyatt family and NXT and stuff like that. And then, his untimely passing, people still talking about him. People talking about the Wyatt Six and everything. And people are saying how much they miss Bray. They literally have something at an amusement park that was a tribute to the Wyatts, to Bray Wyatt and stuff like that. So sometimes these kind of things happen. Sure, you can be mad and you may feel like you're where you're at, but sometimes you're just not. Those are things to also think about too. But there were times where he said Cena was berating him and talking bad about him and stuff like that, and he didn't like and stuff. And I can see that happening. I can see it happening. But I just wanted to like provoke thought when it comes to certain things. What's going on? I love Malaysia. He's not perfect. And I say that as not trying to validate him. Nobody's perfect, right? There's only one perfect person, right? But he's not perfect. And, there's a lot of wrestlers that have made bad decisions and they never apologize for it. And it's just to think that nobody's perfect, regardless if he's your favorite wrestler, your favorite athlete, or anything like that. And some people are like, oh, well, he politicked his way to the top and stuff like that. I think that man worked pretty hard to be where he's at. Now, how he's answering these questions, diabolical. I don't think he needs to answer these questions, honestly. Cena still didn't do Bray any justice at WrestleMania 30. Well, one, it's about Cena, but I'm going to always talk about my Lord and Savior as well. If I got a chance to speak about that, I will. So, respectfully, God bless. If you don't like it, that's cool. Respectfully, if you don't, but still, it is mostly about wrestling. But if I'm going to speak about something, I'm going to always speak the truth. Oh, man. Clipped them quick. Shout out to Robert Brown. But still, John Cena is not perfect. And let me go back. Yeah, the Bray Wyatt. Yeah, Cena could have lost to Bray Wyatt. I don't think it would have made his stock plummet and stuff like that. And then even now, Cena has lost to a lot of people. Like this year has like been the only time where he's won pay-per-view matches consistently or PLE matches consistently, because he did lose to like Solo. He lost to Austin Theory. He lost to a lot of people too. So maybe he was trying to give back. So I also think that that's something very important to throw into the situation. Maybe he's just trying to give back to certain people and want to try to push some of the younger talent and stuff like that, like some of the people did for him when he was the younger talent and stuff. I say this because I know some people was like, they don't like what he's saying in these interviews, and it's to the fact that some saying they're not going to watch his last match. And if you don't want to, that's fine. I'm not here to be like, how dare you? But if you want to watch his match and still disagree with him, that's fine. The saying goes, never meet your heroes. And when it comes to wrestling, honestly, I can see why that's so relatable, because a lot of people need to realize that some people, I don't want to say are playing a character, but it is an extension of themselves. But when you see their personal life that they probably want to put on social media and stuff like that, you may not agree with their ideologies or who they voted for, or who they're dating, or how they feel about climate change and the government and stuff like that. You may not feel like they're relatable in that art, but you may like their work. Like you can, at times, you can separate somebody's personal life and stuff, and then you can enjoy their work, right? Hogan is a great example. We've seen what Hogan has done. We've seen what he said. We see all of these wrestlers saying that all of this stuff has happened to them. But some people for sure have differentiated Terry Bollea and Hulk Hogan. Oh, Terry's a bad person, but Hulk Hogan is not. I, per se, do not go as deep as that, because sometimes the person behind the wrestler is the reason why the wrestler either is great or why people don't like it. But still, to think that the last time we seen Hulk Hogan live on television, he was booed because of the antics, and some of the stuff that you do sometimes does catch up and bite you. Didn't matter that Hulk Hogan saved wrestling in the golden era. It didn't matter. None of that stuff mattered, because people was like, you're a piece of crap. Even if he changed, people can change. People can change. Like I said, there's not a lot of wrestlers that'll turn around and apologize, but Cena definitely was one of those ones. Even CM Punk, he apologized when they went to Crown Jewel, because remember when he was had beef with The Miz, he told The Miz to go do something with a body part that was residing in Saudi Arabia. You guys know what I mean. You know what I mean when I say that. And CM Punk said he apologized, and people said it was all good. It is what it is. Some people are going to go to the grave not liking him. Some people are going to go to the grave liking him. Like I said, I respect what he has done for the business, right? I do plan to watch it. Like I said, but most of the selling point was Oba and Cody, honestly. Like, still, I do want to see that, and I am interested to see what Cena and Gunther will do. Hulk Hogan. Oh yeah, Hogan was wrong. Like trust me, there are a lot of wrestlers that have done wrong things and during their run or even now. Even it doesn't even have to be WWE. It could be anything. The independent is a lot of things that wrestlers try to do and stuff like that. No selling a power bomb for Vader is diabolical because Vader was considered one of the strongest and stiffest wrestlers out there, and for him to get up like that is crazy. I mean, even when Shaq and Jay went against Cody and Red Velvet. Shaq powerbombed Cody, and Cody punched Shaq after doing it and got up like nothing happened. So trust me, it's a lot of stuff. I think that the problem is so many of us we put these guys that we probably grew up watching or we put them on pedestals, and then when they say something we don't like, and your heart is broken, oh well, how dare you? And like I said, you don't have to agree with stuff. And sometimes people do heinous things and heinous acts, right? But still, if you want to still watch it, that's fine. If you don't want to watch it, that's also fine or whatever like that. But like I said, like Vince really didn't want a lot of these guys and gals on social media for a reason, because he wants you guys to, for the most part, especially if you are a good guy, he wants you to be liked. And sometimes people's political views, social views, religious views, lack of religious views, those are things that people are saying on their social media account. And that's how it is. Interviews. People are interviewing so much stuff now. They're doing interviews and they're talking about their personal life. The Rock is switching between Dwayne and the final boss during the same interview, which looks stupid to me, but still, obviously, I would hope that your personal life does not outweigh wrestling if you're there to watch wrestling, right? Those are dangerous things. Ultimate Warrior no selling for Randy. Ultimate Warrior no sold for Triple H too. Triple H gave him his pedigree, and Ultimate Warrior got up like it was nothing. And Triple H hated it, but then when Ultimate Warrior came back, tried to turn around and say, "Oh, it was a learning experience." Like, stop it. Like, there are some things that some wrestlers have done. Almost every wrestler that you probably did not agree with or won't agree with. Ultimate Warrior has some personal things to say about other people's orientations and stuff like that. Some people don't like him, didn't like that neither. See what I'm saying? So still, I can disagree with somebody and don't wish the worst upon them, honestly. And I think it's easy for me. It's easy for me to be like, okay, well, I don't agree with that, but I don't wish the worst upon you. I don't pray the worst upon you and stuff like that. Obviously, there are certain things I wish would change, but I'm not about to force it. I'm not about to be any way disrespectful. But even that, disrespect is subjective to how strong somebody believes in something or what political side they're on or whatever like that. And that's very, very important to say. Now, with John Cena and people saying, oh, well, he told me to change the moves. John Cena berated me. Like, everybody's talking about, like, Alex Riley. I've heard small things about what he has said to Alex Riley and stuff like that and gave him a hard time. Some people are saying, they didn't get a chance to be pushed right or whatever because John Cena said not to push them. These are possible too. I'm not in the locker room. These are possible too. It's a political game sometimes. Sometimes some people just don't have it. Like I said, Husky going to FCW and eventually NXT to beat Bray Wyatt was definitely a good thing. It definitely was a good thing for his character because I couldn't tell you anything compelling about Husky Harris. I just couldn't. I'm sorry. I just couldn't. I couldn't tell you. Ultimate Warrior held up Vince. Yeah, Ultimate Warrior held up Vince for money. Like, Hulk Hogan has said some stuff online. He's depolitic people. He said he didn't want a union in wrestling. And it's funny because a lot of people are still talking about that to this day, that wrestling should have a union. Now, as a person who knows a little bit about the union, that it's a give or take in the union. Do y'all know that there's union dues that have to be paid? So they have to pay a union fee. Some people are going to have to pay a lot of the union fee. You're going to have to do certain things. You're going to have to vote for somebody to be a representative. There's other things about it. And I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, well, Hogan was just thinking about what I'm thinking about, because I don't. So did Jeff and Robert. Yeah, it's a lot of people that has done bad, but people immortalize them. And people are like, oh, well, WWE, they booked racists and they had Hall of Famers, they're racist, and people who was abusers and unalivers and stuff. Yes, they have. They have a lot of that stuff. And it's like, you'd be surprised. But nowadays with social media, everybody puts their feelings and ideologies, biasness, they put all of that in there. They put all of that in there to validate somebody's bad behavior. And it's not just WWE. It's not even from a racial standpoint. It's for like some people that's doing stuff they're not supposed to do. John Cena, for the most part, people can only get on him about politicking and also what he's saying about who cares, because people do care. It just wasn't a good thing to say. However, if you still want to find enjoyment in John Cena's match, which I will try to, there's nothing wrong with that. I think the problem is people try to tell people how they're supposed to act and how they're supposed to be and stuff like that. You think those millions of kids who are John Cena fans, do you think that they care that John Cena said who cares? No, because they're not looking on YouTube for these interviews. Most adults are. We're looking at the CVVs. We're looking at the Pat McAfees. We're looking at these people do that. If anything, they're looking at John Cena matches. They're looking at him on television. They're looking at him for other stuff. They're not looking at him to understand the real him because they like what he's doing. Same thing with Hulk Hogan back in the day. People wanted to do the Hulkamania thing, even adults. They're not looking at stuff about him not wanting to unionize and stuff like that. Sometimes people know where to limit the character and the person, right? And they'll stay here. Hey, I don't care about this person's personal life. I care about the wrestling side. I want to see if he's going to beat the Ultimate Warrior, Randy Savage. I want to see if he can body slam Yokozuna. I don't care what he feels like about this. This is what I feel like. I feel this way. I don't want to go that way. But people want you to go all the way. And some people don't want to do that. Can you blame Jeff Jarrett for holding up Vince for money? He was putting over China. He said, I do. No, Robert, plus he was old. Yeah, Jared was also old. And like I said, you guys know how I feel about intergender matches, right? I don't really care for them unless they make sense. And a lot of them don't. Now, China having muscles and stuff and being crazy strong, that's one thing. But sometimes that can mess up a man's, you can say ego, you can say merit, you can say value if they are losing to women. China is like one of the differences. Rhea beat Tozawa one time. And, Oscar beat a face James Ellsworth and stuff. How you do it is how you do it. But, yeah, if you owe somebody money and then you want them to lose to a woman, and when I say that, y'all know I don't mean no disrespect. Yeah, you're probably going to be like, nah, I need a little bit more money. Give me some money. Give me some cash. I need some cash. I need cash. So, I know she did the stuff with Jericho and then the stuff with Eddie, but still. Yeah. So most people are going to look at it and they want to look more at the wrestling standpoint. They don't want to look at the personal stuff and all of that. That's why, like, some people, like, I don't understand why people were so upset. I don't understand why you supporting Hogan. I'm not saying I supported him per se, but I did speak about like why he will be missed and all of that stuff because of what he has contributed to wrestling. And some people was like, oh, well, he said this stuff about a black guy, or he said this stuff and all of that, and he didn't help a lot of people. And some people said that they helped. Booker T said it. Oh, Booker T's the COON, and he's this and that. Some other black talent have come out and said that he has helped. And then some people's like, no, well, you shouldn't. Some people forgive differently. Some people forgave Hogan after he said what he said. He was punished. He lost out on deals. He lost out on endorsements and stuff. But some people is like, nah, stay over there because you said that. And you have a right to believe that way and stay that way. Miss Texas beat me all the time. Miss Texas beat me all the time. So it's like, yeah, Rhea, it's just how you do it makes sense. How you do it, it just makes it, if you can make it make sense. And it's only like a thin line, a small space, small room for error for it to mess up. But going back to the Cena situation, yeah, like, I think a lot of people are going to sub to Peacock and they're going to go watch it with their family and friends and stuff because this is the end of an era. And I do feel like Cena is one of those guys that will not wrestle anymore. Not a Jeff Jarrett fan, but I can't blame him for politics. Because Jeff was politicking in WCW as well. That's why he was like a world champion in WCW a couple times. Like, he was definitely politicking. Like, I do feel like Jeff felt he was world talent and world champion material. Nothing to diss Jeff Jarrett, but I know he felt that way. And, He cut his curls off. He had the short hair. He had the yellow see-through glasses with the slap nuts and the guitar and all of this other stuff. It just to me, I just never took Jeff Jarrett that serious in WCW as a child. I just never took him that serious. So when he had the belt and stuff, I'm just like, okay, where the real champion at? like y'all playing. Where the real champion at? I want to see the real champion. But still, politics happens. Sometimes people politic for a good way too. Sometimes it's for safety. Hey, I don't want to face this person. This person is unsafe. This person is careless and stuff like that. Or this person doesn't represent the company well. This person shows up late. Sometimes these kind of things can happen too. Not all politicking is bad politicking. Hey, this person needs to train more. Hey, this person is very, very disrespectful. So to avoid confrontation, I'd rather not face this person. If you want me to face him, I'll face him, but I don't think it's the best. Sometimes that kind of stuff happens. And this is coming from somebody that says, hey, man, if you coming into work, go into work. But sometimes it is what it is. Even at my job for certain things, hey, I'm letting you guys know this, so this is that. It's possible you can lose your job, you can get punished for it, but still, sometimes you have to enlighten people about certain things and how certain things work. So with a lot of these guys that they felt like was de-pushed by Cena, some of them were, and then some of them might have not been ready for that spotlight. Sometimes, in the words of Eminem, you only get one shot. Do not miss your chance to blow. Opportunity runs once in a lifetime. You better lose yourself in the music, the wrestling. You want it, you better never let it go. You only get one shot. Do not miss your chance to blow. John Cena gonna mess up your lifetime. No, I'm just saying. I'm sorry. Bret Hart should have politicked himself away from the program with Goldberg. I think with Goldberg, I think it was an accident. It definitely was an accident. Goldberg was not the most technically sound wrestler. But I don't think he purposely hurt Goldberg. Bret. I know that it's a running meme that Bret Hart makes fun of Goldberg and he calls him Bill Goldberg. But I personally don't think that. They just didn't mesh well as wrestlers. And sometimes that happens, unfortunately. Two people just don't mesh well when it comes to certain things. Even in that match, you could tell like Bret Hart, before he even got kicked, he put a figure four on Goldberg on the post, and he just jumped and fell on the back of his head. He didn't even protect himself. I know a lot of people was like, well, maybe Goldberg should have just held his leg so he can slowly brace himself. But still, Bret Hart is also as guilty in that match for hitting his head on the outside than Goldberg. Now, Goldberg with that crazy kick, that was a nasty kick. And it is unfortunate that it cut Bret's career short or whatever like that. But I definitely don't think he meant to do it. But even to your point, Robert Brown, maybe if he's seen other stuff from Goldberg and been like, hey, you know what? This isn't going to work. Nah, I don't trust that. I don't think he meant to. I think the thing is, people started to see weaknesses in Goldberg's game when it comes to wrestling and certain things. So now with social media, and then even the story of William Regal when he said he tried to chain with Goldberg and he said Goldberg was lost. So then that's when a lot more people started saying, oh man, Goldberg couldn't wrestle. Goldberg sucked. I grew up a Goldberg fan, and when Goldberg retired, I still was a Goldberg fan. Right? So my thing is this, as a professional wrestler myself, yeah, I can look at this and be like, yeah, I see what they're doing and stuff like that. But wrestling is sometimes all more about grit, pop, and circumstances than actually wrestling moves. And I think that Goldberg definitely was the epitome of it, especially in WCW. And I think that WCW did a great job with him. Kevin Nash said Goldberg hurt him with the super kick, not as bad as Bret. Sure, yeah. Sometimes these kind of things do happen. And, hopefully, I wish Goldberg would have lightened up on it. I wish he wouldn't have did what he did with as far as Bret is concerned. But, yeah, yep, thanks, Cena. So those are also things to think about, too, especially with social media. People will come out of nowhere. Oh, Goldberg couldn't wrestle. He sucked. He was horrible. Why did they make him champion? Why did they do this? And why did they do that? And he's bad and this and that. And he obviously hurt Bret on purpose. I'm like, just because you don't like him, don't put that on him. Same thing with Mercedes Moné, with Sasha Banks. People put, well, she's the one who injured Paige Saraya, and that's why people don't like her. Because people like Paige and stuff like that. But I'm like, It obviously was an accident. Y'all know that that lady didn't mean to hurt her like that. Oh, Botcha Banks. She's always botching. And it's like, Charlotte botches, Bailey botches, Becky botches. Becky botches a lot. And I'm not saying it to like make Becky like put Becky down, but did we forget the her versus Nikki Bella for the Intercontinental Championship? We just gonna sweep that under the rug, and then y'all don't sit here and say, "Oh, well, they both always botch." The narrative, right? That's the narrative that goes with it. And to me, it's possibly a narrative with John Cena. Like I said, John Cena may not be the nicest person, and that's fine. Don't be around him. Don't support him. Don't talk to him. Some people show stuff online where he refuses autographs. He has a right to. Maybe he's eating. He's eating with friends. He's shopping. He's just trying to live life. And people be like, oh, well, you asked for this life, but I can also say no. Just things to think about. Um, I guess I'll go sub to this Peacock and see what's going on. I mean, if it's a good shot, I know it's a lot of young bulls in there, so that'll be good to see. Like the younger talent, seeing what they can do, especially after John Cena and Gunther. Like a teacher tells a kid at school, accidents happen. Accidents do happen. Even the best wrestlers mess up. Was it Seth who broke Cena's nose? Yeah, it was Seth broke Cena's nose, and Cena's nose was doing the stanky leg. And this was also around the time where Seth had accidentally messed up Finn's shoulder when he was the Universal. Well, for the Universal Championship, Finn won the match, but he messed his shoulder up and they vacated. But this was also around the time that Brett was calling Seth 4 out of 10, saying that saying that Seth was unsafe in the ring. Like Brett was saying Seth was unsafe in the ring because Finn messed his shoulder up, and then like a few months or weeks later, Seth accidentally broke John Cena's nose, and Brett started speaking about that too. It's crazy how this is like full circle for Brett. But still, Seth is like one of the greatest wrestlers and stuff like that, and obviously. Okay, it was a year after. Okay, so yeah, but that was the memes that was going on. It was a year after Cena, so they even brought that up. They kept bringing it up. One was first. I thought Finn breaking hurting his. I thought Finn's shoulder situation. Okay, thanks for clarification. Cena nose did this thing. It did do the stanky leg. That thing was nasty. But between that time, Brett was saying that Seth was unsafe, and he was calling them 4 out of 10. You want to know how intense it was? The crowd, some of the crowd members had signs that said 4 out of 10, and they would show it every time Seth came out because that's what Brett called Seth. Now, it's funny because this year people are like, man, Brett, you need to chill out because, Brett was very vocal on Gunther's chops, and he was also very vocal on Sheamus's punches. So now people are like, all right, Brett, bro, you got a lot to say about everybody. You got a lot to say about everybody. And even then, Brett is a good example for this video too, because some people differentiate how he used to wrestle over how he is now, because sometimes he does come off as bitter because he probably felt that he should have closed out his wrestling career better the way he did, right? And sure, but still, Gunther's chops is what people anticipate. They anticipate the chops. Sheamus has a form of intensity that really works for Sheamus, right? So when Brett even said that, it's like, all right, bro, stop, man. You still a legend, but come on now. The month after Cena, Seth broke Sting back at the Night of Champions. Yep, that's what it was. That's what it was. The situation. Brett was smiling for the wrong reasons. That's what that was. Sting hurt his neck or something. Oh, the buckle power bomb or whatever, because people was talking about that it was dangerous because he gave Finn the buckle power bomb on the barricade. But honestly, Finn tried to catch himself, and that was the problem too. But it's still a dangerous move altogether. Still dangerous, but still. Finn tried to catch himself a little bit earlier than what he should have. Brett just need to sit down. Yeah, he do, bro. He just need to sit down. But still, people can differentiate Bret Hart wrestling and Bret Hart commentating. People can do that. People can differentiate Hulk Hogan as this wrestler who saved wrestling over Terry, who was basically a horrible person who may have changed his life for the better. You know what I'm saying? People can differentiate John Cena The wrestler than John Cena, the interviewee. I don't give Sheamus punches 100% of attention, but Sheamus punches to me they aren't bad. To me, Sheamus stuff when he hits people it looks like it hurts. The 12 things of the Baron, those look like they hurt. I remember when he first started, people was talking about how intense he was. So maybe he did pull back because he doesn't want to hurt people. These are also things to think about, y'all. It's very important. But I did want to speak about this for a little bit. You know, John Cena's last match. John Cena's not perfect. We're all not perfect. Only one person is perfect. You know, I don't know if the person got timed out for saying what I'm speaking about, but still, y'all guys know, you guys and gals know exactly what I'm talking about. Who's perfect? But still, John Cena's not a perfect person. He's made mistakes, and honestly, he's held himself accountable to some of them, not all. Cena's not going to say everything about the thing. He's basically telling people who cares and let's talk about pivots and stuff. And like I said, I disagree with a lot of the stuff he says. But John Cena's last match is today. I'm going to see what I'm going to do to watch it and look at it. I'll probably speak about it afterwards after the show. I'll probably do a review. I don't do reviews like that, but still, we'll see how it goes. I hope you guys and gals have a wonderful evening. This is Chris Classic. Say it, Cam.
Let's take it home.